Hi everyone. Let's make a VDM to continue our torso. So I've got these holes that I will probably reuse, where these tubes plug in into our body. And I don't want to go sculpt that every time, so I can just make a VDM for that. It may work, it may not. This is VDMs I've already made over time as I reuse when I make packs of stuff. I use this one a lot to create, quickly just create finer skin detail. It doesn't look great on its own, but when I'm using it all over and edit it, it works pretty well. So the first thing you have to do when you make a VDM, the easiest way is just go append or insert a plane 3D. Now I'm going to subdivide it, Control D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As high as you like. Just keep in mind the higher the poly count, the larger the brush will be once you save it. So if it's only 1 or 2, you can go as many millions as you want. But these brushes tend to have multiple VDMs in them. So the scene has, 50 plus, each of about 1 million polys. That brush will be about 1.5 or something gigs, so it's something insane, but just keep that in mind. I tend to stick to 1 million as my top subdivision level. I'm just going to rename it Port 001. Not the best name, but we'll run with it. Now make a morph target. Because the number one rule with VDMs is you should never change the border. That will ruin your VDM in an irreversible way. So you can either mask it out and sculpt, and just don't go near the border. I don't bother, I just make a morph target. So if I did, at the end I can come back and just use the morph brush and undo if there was anything there. Easy. Another rule is it has to be that plane 3D. There are templates, but you don't have to use them. But Zbrush provides for VDM. You just add a plane 3D. And once you save the brush, you can't just go to brush, create multi-alpha, which is a VDM. You have to select one of these first. Chisel, creature, any of these chisel brushes. You won't overwrite them, so don't worry. I just always have this one here. I never use this brush, but I just, that's a ZBrush default examples of VDMs. But it's a class of brush which is set up to be able to make VDMs. And your VDM was successful if there's a 3D icon in the corner of your alpha. Then it's a VDM. So you make your stuff, whatever it is, and you go to brush, create multi-alpha. Just make sure you have any of these chisels selected, brush, create multi-alpha brush. So it's going to look at every subtool in the scene. So all 50 or 51 VDMs I've already made. And it takes a while, so now it'll see that refreshes as soon as I move this. It's now populated this brush with all of these guys. These are ones I made before. I'll show you how I make them in a second. But I thought I'd get all this out for people who just quickly want to know the basics of of making a VDM. Let's undo this nonsense. M opens up the brushes, the stuff I have in here. So let's say, see, I've warped the edge. That will ruin your VDM. Once you draw it out, it will create a very harsh edge. Simply morph brush it back. So, another rule is you can't Dynamesh or you cannot change the topology in any way. You can only sculpt on top of it. That's the other main rule of VDMs. You can't use insert meshes on them. If I do this, well, but yeah, you can't use insert meshes on them either. You can only use the existing topology to sculpt on. So that's how you create VDMs. Very, very, very easy. Now let's create the portal. I've got my morph target. I'm picking up my Wacom pen now. And turn on symmetry and let's just make a hole. Fairly round. I'm going to use smooth peaks, so I like the details it leaves. Actually, this is too big because I need room. I need more room. So I'm going to undo that, make the hole smaller. Of course, the more surface space you use, the higher the resolution will be, but it's not like with UVs where you really got to pack it as beautiful as you can. You don't have to be too anal about it. Can you say anal on YouTube without getting flagged or something? I don't know. Let's find out. So I'm turning off at alpha because I want more control. Let's square alpha from the clay brush. And I'm making a port. I'll desymmetrize it later. Autosave is great, but it always comes when I really don't want it. So standard brush. I'm probably not going to... Well, I could spend time detailing the inside because sometimes you might use these without anything being plugged into them, so to speak. So you'd want the detail in here. Do what you want, really. And you can use the inverse of this as well once they've created, and I'll demonstrate that. The inverted VDMs don't usually turn out too great. But sometimes you have lucky accidents. Inflating a bit. I bet you have just making sure. Should have masked it out really, but it's okay. When I use the move brush now, I probably slightly altered the border. Which, as I've said before, you really do not want that. It ruins the VDM. I also don't create too much detail on them usually, because VDMs are usually on the model itself. It's usually quite a small part of it, so too much detail will just be a waste. Well, I suppose if it's eyes or noses or mouths, I do add as much as I can actually, because that's fairly prominent, but it really depends. It can't hurt. It can't hurt to have a lot of detail, actually. So this is way too symmetrical. Let's add a bit more. Non-symmetry stuff. Now I'm actually going to use one of my VDMs on this VDM. This I use a lot. This it's like veins, which I sculpted long ago. Super useful, because I don't always just want to sculpt veins, then I just use this guy. That said, it's probably best to not have too much on this guy so you can keep it neutral, like unveined, and you can always choose to add veins to it later. But let's just... Nah, I'm not going to use this. Okay. Shift D, I'm going to lower subdivision so I can smooth that out more easy. Now, this VDM might not be suitable for what I want to use it for as plugs. It may be that it's... But it will have uses elsewhere. So I'm masking it out now because if it doesn't work, let me soften that a bit, just in case. So I've realized this needs to be at an angle for how I want to use it. It doesn't have to be, but it'll make it easier. Because things normally plug in from the side with that torso, so I want it to be like this. Just get some broad strokes in here. Let's inflate and see what happens. Add a bit of sharpness with damn standard. Fill that in a bit just to clean it up. That's not all noise. Make this less symmetrical. Oh, that's better. It's really... For those who have seen a few of my videos, you probably know by now how much I dislike symmetry. Perfect symmetry, rather. I mean, like, thank fuck we can work in symmetry. But, yeah, afterwards, come in and break it up. This will look good inflated. Yeah. Inflate. Although, inflation is actually not their best thing specifically with VDMs. Because of what it does to topology. So I may approach that differently. It looks fine, but on if you use this inflated VDMs, on low resolution target models where it won't be the best. So I'm going to undo that. And rather, it's going to be more difficult, but sculpt that effect in. And it will be... It's not illegal to do that, and it's fine. It's just I found through experience that it's a little bit better to not use inflate with VDMs, the inflate brush. I mean, it's already stretching the topology a bit. And remember, you can't use Dynamesh or Z-Remesher on VDM planes. It makes them un-VDMable. So one thing would be is to go another subdivision level if needed. But I really don't need it for this guy at all. So I'm fine. I'm happy with this. Then you would need to make a new morph target, by the way. So it's best to establish your... And it may not always work as you'd expect by then. So it's... Oh shit. So it's best to establish the subdivision level before you start sculpting. Not essential, but it's best. Just to avoid any weirdness. So that's definitely morphed, ruined the edge. Let's fix that. And I'll have to soften this somehow without... I should have given myself more room. I mean, it's fine, but I'm going to come in here and I've got this obvious edge, which is not the best, but will live. I mean, nothing stops one from once the VDM is applied and used to do corrective sculpting. It's not ideal, but yeah. This is crap. There, did you see I touched the edge? Don't. I'm just gonna dock the morph brush here. It's a back and forth battle here now. Just use the clay fill brush very carefully. Going back to the top subdivision level. Oh yeah, I'm tempted to do stuff like add. But then it's best to, for this one, not to add that detail. So you can choose to add it once you've applied these to a creature or whatever. Let's add some fine detail and then save it. Let's use this guy. Lower the intensity. Excuse me. Nah, too much noise. There's a few here I haven't used in a while, like this. I rarely use that one because it's a bit too particular for me. I like this one. That was inflated actually, but it seems to be hold up all right. Ooh, that looks quite good. A bit, yeah. I think for this, I'm trying to be too clever now. Just keep it simple. If I zoom out, I can see like, oh, hang on, going too far. What am I doing? So finally, well, maybe finally, just some hints of detail. Standard brush, low intensity, so I can come in underneath these and lift them up. There we go. If I was looking at reference of something, well, what the hell would I be looking for reference? Well, something in the animal kingdom. Maybe even a flower or something. Definitely not the rear end of animals. I just don't want to look at that. I find it really hard to look at, you know what I mean, of animals. It's like, oh. But I think the result could have been better if I was looking at anything that's orifice like on Pinterest. And this would have been a better result. So always look at reference. I didn't do it now just because I'm just trying to show the process really, not necessarily the best art. But yeah, always look at reference. Don't do what I do right now. Just winging it. I could add something more interesting in here. Like tonsils, but not tonsils. In case something's not plugged into it. And let's break symmetry, adding a third one here. Yeah, I kind of like where this is going. There's more focused detail here in the middle and then cleaner on the outside rim. We're losing erase there, but it's fine. Not too bothered. I don't like this guy. I inflate just a little bit. Fuck it. And then this curve, I want it more. There we go, it's a bit better. I think, yeah, I want that there. Why do I want that there? It just feels right. It's that one clutch song. Whenever it feels right. Well, I think that's the song's name, but that is the chorus. Alright, let's stop here. That's enough. I'm going to save my other screen. It's Zbrushes. I have a folder of Zbrushes. So I'm saving the Z tool because I always add on to this. Skin details. Zbrush 2022 version. Because earlier, before the video, I made the mistake of saving the brush in Zbrush 2023 and I couldn't open it in 2022 and it was like, but what if I want to refine this brush and put it on the marketplace one day? And many people don't use ZBrush 2023. As that saved? Yep. Right, now let's make this brush. Again, we choose any of the chisel brushes. Make sure you're straight viewing it from the front. You can turn it off perspective, but it's not essential. But let's do it anyway so shift and drag in any direction will snap you to left or right. You can see top, right mouse button. I hold down first, shift, and then snap. Just drag to. If you try it, you'll know what I mean. So I'm snap to the front, brush, create multi-alpha brush. It will take a while because it's got 52 million polys all in all to calculate into a VDM package. Okay, it was unsuccessful because there's no 3D icon. So I think it's probably because this is from ages ago. It's a corrupted mesh. That's probably ruining it. Let's get rid of it. Is there anything in this scene? So it's made it, but they're not real VDMs. Oh, hang on. I may be wrong. Let's see the last one. Seems it did work because we have what defines a VDM from an alpha or differentiates it is you have overhang. That's the main thing, really. And we do have this point overhangs a point beneath it, so it did work. We've got the 3D icon, so I don't know. Maybe I was just blind. So it worked. It's fine. So let's check out our porthole. We have no... Because if the edge... Let me just go to that guy. I could swear I... Oh, right. N. If this edge was in any way deformed, when you drag it out, it would create a harsh line, which is just awful. So I know this brush is cool, brush, save as, save the brush wherever you want. So now I'm saving the actual brush and not the subtool. I call all my brushes BVDH as a prefix so I can find them easily. I know everything in BVDH. It's not an ego thing, it's like an organizational thing. BVDH _ and I call this skin details. Right, so that is saved. Let's carry on with El Torso. So, this may not even work for what I want, and that's fine. I still have something that I will be able to use elsewhere. And if not, doesn't matter. It was fun making it. I can already see I would have preferred if it was angled in more. But it's fine. I can just do that. You can see all that detail. A lot of it was not really necessary because it's so small. And this mesh would need to be... The source mesh needs to be higher. So it's only 1.8. It's Control D, 8 million. And there we go. I'm going to undo that. I think it'll be more useful at the back. There we go. Yeah. Let's see what it looks like over here. I'm going to Control D again. So I have a nice... It's funny, most of the wrinkly detail underneath is obscured by the thing that's plugged into it. But that's fine. It's totally cool. There we go. Got portholes. Was it worth it? Who knows? No one knows. It's up to you. Let's create a base so we can plug it in. Or I can just create the angle myself. Like there. It has to go this way. That's alright. Yeah, I would have preferred way more angled. In fact, let's go edit that VDM. So we have two versions. This one which is at an okay angle, and then one that's at a almost a 90 degrees angle sideways. So I don't have to do all the gymnastics. But it's cool. Fuck the inside. So let's go back to our guy. I'm going to press Control Shift D, which duplicates it. So up arrow. And I've got all these guys. This one I use a lot. Okay, so got a copy. Let's feather this mask. Alright, so move. I should have planned this better. And that's typical of VDMs. It's a back and forth. You see, okay, I should sculpt it like this instead of like that, and so on, and then eventually you nail it. It's pretty normal that this one isn't the huge resounding success, which is actually normally the case, really, or at least 50% of the time, and then I just go back and know what I need to do differently. Because essentially all we'll be seeing now when I use it in practice is this bit. And there's not much going on there, is there? Unless nothing is going in there. So it would have been cool to... Well, let's make more detail up here then. Now that we know all that is pretty much lost. Obscured, rather. Occluded. But let's fix that. That's the cool thing of 3D. You can just fix it. It's infinite. I can't tell you how many VDMs I've made that are just complete trash. That are not even usable anywhere. They're just ugly and useless. And that's fine. You still gain experience. Everything you do is experience. So a positive. It's like, okay, cool. Now I know. Well, apart from doing class A drugs, don't do that. There's no positive there. At all. Or anyone. Clean that up a bit. It's not great, but you see my standard brush is behaving in a way that I really don't like. Maybe it's just me. Let's go to stroke modifiers. This may help. Roll. Put it to 10. Ooh, look how smooth it is now. And roll off. I think it's the same, really. Yeah, doesn't make any... I think it did change. I think it's a bit of a bug here, because it certainly didn't behave like that just now. Okay, wait. So it's creating these... Let's put it to freehand. Very similar behavior. Like it's creating a dot, and the next dot, and the next dot, instead of a contiguous stroke. And this is similar. Ah, whatever. I don't make too much noise. And earlier what I said about creating stuff like this, I think I actually will. Now that I've used it, I realize I would like little details like this embedded in the VDM. Oh, I'm sculpting like a not very good sculptor today. Little pock marks. Let's get back to the clayness. Let's go with this. It's like a weird eye, actually. Actually, no. Doesn't look like a weird eye, and that's fine. Probably could have used one of my VDMs to create portals, but what's the fun in that? Huh. Alrighty. Look at that. Alright. VDM, and we're going to overwrite this guy. Brush, create multi-alpha brush. 53.5 million polygons. Stretching a bit there. Sorry. Alright. Did it work? Yeah. Alright. Okay, let's see where we can use it. Nowhere, really. It's fine. I don't mind. It's a shit VDM. Am I using my mouse? Yes. I nominate this as worst VDM of 2023. Cast your votes now. It's alright. Maybe not the worst. But for this specific tool, so I probably won't be using it. But it doesn't matter. The video serves its purpose in showing you how I do VDMs. So let's use other VDMs I've made. So mask lasso, symmetry is on. So I want to add some veiny details on the fringes of this belly. But I don't want it to spill over. Invert. Oh, whoops, what am I doing? Alright, Control H to hide the mask. It's still there, but doesn't influence our decisions. So, this works really well for that. I definitely don't want it symmetrical though. Definitely not details like these. It'll be way too obvious and machine-like. And I don't want to have it like detail like this too much. It's too much noise. Imbalanced. I'm very thoughtful about where I add detail. I'm constantly stepping back. I think that might be enough. I'm going to smooth peaks. Just the edges. And maybe VDM, make the intensity really low. And add a big one here. Nope. No. It's too much. It's very tempting to do that, but it's too much. There, that was more subtle. Let's clear the mask. Even though we didn't see it, it was there. Let's see what happens if we... Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Will definitely fit here. Let's make a barrier again. it doesn't go over onto the breast. It could. It's just an artistic choice I've made. In fact, it might look better if they actually go, if there is no barrier. Let's check it out. Clear the mask. I don't know. Yeah. Let's screw that artistic choice. Prefer this. Again, definitely not symmetry for this. And I also don't want to... Actually, with this case, that might be the thing I was looking for yesterday, but couldn't quite put my finger on what it was I was looking for. No. It is cool. I do have a lot of other breasts that are clean surface, like not very noisy, so it might be cool. I really like these. Might be cool to... Well, I'm not done with these at all. They definitely need micro detailing, which we'll get to now. Let me undo that. Yeah, I'm going to keep this clean. My gut says don't do what I just don't. But maybe something very... Oh, I don't want MRGB. Oh, look at this. Oh, no. Okay, never mind. Never mind. So lower the intensity of my VDM and do it now. Okay, I'm going to do something like that, but before we do this, it's actually, because since we're at detailing stage now, this is a good time to use Zbrush's noise surface tab, which is there. I love using this. So we will create a base of noise. So we're moving on to tertiary and micro detail now. And then we will, once we've applied it to certain areas of the model, we can manually refine it and add it to the noise by sculpting on top of it and then move on.